Shalom Aleichem everyone, and welcome back to Hachzeik's Musa program, where we're beginning today a brand new Sefer called the Pele Yoetz, as we're about to speak about in a moment. Welcome to everyone that's been with us for the past year, so that I had the schus to be with Hachzeik, and to the newcomers that are joining us to embark upon the 6-month journey of the Pele Yoetz itself. And also to our friends at Tar Anytime, as we launch this on their platform as well, in the daily series of Musa Ahavas Hashem. As is our custom, whenever we start a new Sefer, we like to have a brief biography about the Mechaber, the author of this Sefer, because you can't really appreciate and understand and value the words that we are going to learn together unless we understand and appreciate and value the author himself. Just what a great Ahavas Hashem, a servant of the Rabbi Shalom, he truly was. And the author of the Pele Yoetz is no exception. He had a level of godless, of greatness, in piety, in Musar, in Ahavas Hashem. And the more that we can understand him, even just a little bit, the greater is going to be our appreciation of the Sefer. And the deeper we will get into his words, realizing that every word that he writes is the Kodesh HaKadoshim, is the Holy of Holies. The author of Pele Yoetz is Rabbi Eliezer Papo. He was born in Sarajevo in Bosnia in the year 1785. He became a very outstanding scholar, Talmid Chacham. He was deeply devoted to his piety, spirituality. He authored many different svarim on halacha, on musar, and he was very committed to Kabbalah, to mysticism as well. He served as the chief rabbi in a community called Celestria, which is in current-day Bulgaria, and he died, surprisingly, at a very young age in either 1826 or 1827, at the age of 41 or 42 years old. He was a young man. He was greatly accomplished in Ahavas Hashem. He preached a life of piety, of separating yourself from the mundane activities of this world, of never allowing yourself to indulge too much in Olam Hazeh, but rather keeping your eye and your mind and your heart and your neshama focused on Olam Haba, on the world to come. And therefore he was nicknamed HaKadosh, the Holy One, because of the great levels of Kedusha that he reached. So his scholarship was remarkable. His accomplishments were outstanding. At a very young age, as we could see, he was writing svarim, as we're going to learn. And here, this Sefer, the Pele Yoetz, which is possibly his most famous Sefer, was written in the year 1824. That means the words that we will find within were written by a young 39-year-old man. A man that was steeped in tradition, steeped in Torah, steeped in wisdom and Kabbalah, and his whole life was dedicated to spreading the word of the Rabbi Shalom here in this world. Now, it's interesting to note that in that tekuf, in that period of the 1825, 1826, there was a cholera pandemic that broke out in Bulgaria. And Eliezer Papo, not surprisingly, he was trained in many things. One of them was medicine. And so he set up many field hospitals along the way because people were getting so sick and ill, they were dying from the cholera epidemic and pandemic that had taken place. And he worked and he saved many, many, many lives. But unfortunately, he himself ended up getting stricken with cholera, and he died as a result at this young age, as we pointed out, the age of 41, possibly 42 years old. He left behind his svarim, which covered the gamut and the spectrum of halacha, of musar, of Kabbalah, and the like. And he encouraged people, he hoped that people would learn from his svarim, and that they would be able to reach understanding of them and then spread his knowledge to the world. And he actually writes in his Hagdama, in the introduction to the Pele Yoetz, the following: if I will be zeicher to bask in the glory of Hashem, and to visit and to come close to his sanctuary, which means If I will be Zeicha after 120 years, for him it was only 41 years, to leave this world and go and dwell and commune with the Shechina itself, Ashalem b'meitava l'choin man delimte liminei hana. Anyone that has done me pleasure and benefit in this world by learning from my Svarim, and here he's writing it in the introduction to Pele Yoetz, which means anyone that would learn the Sefer Pele Yoetz, that will be a nachas ruach, that will be a pleasure to the neshama of Rabbi Eliezer Papa, the author of Pele Yoetz. You should know, he writes over here, I will do everything in my abilities to bring good to you. So we are embarking upon a beautiful Sefer, a wondrous Sefer that goes from Aleph to Taf. It's based on the Aleph base, on the Hebrew alphabet. We're not going to get at this point all the way to the end. The next 6 months will take us to a good chunk of the Sefer. We'll see, maybe we'll continue after that. I don't know what the plans of Hachseik are yet. Be'ez Hashem, everything that we do learn will be a schus for ourselves, and will be a schus for the neshama of Eliezer Papa Zatzal. And he has promised over here that anyone that does kindness to him and learns his works, learns his words, his Sefer, and especially if we get a chizuk out of it and we take it to heart and we make it part of ourselves, so then he says he will do whatever he can from that world over there to bring good and benefit to us down here in this world. So Amirat Hashem, we should all see the brachos that are coming for those that will learn with us together the Pele Yoetz. So let's now embark in the beginning of the Pele Yoetz. As I mentioned, it is based on the Aleph base. It goes from Aleph to Taf, from the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet to the last one, and we begin with the letter Aleph. And the first topic that we're going to discuss in the letter Aleph is the words of Ahavas Hashem. And he writes like this: Avala HaKadosh Baruch Hu, love that one has to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Avala HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mida Tayveh, there is no greater need, there's no greater measure, no greater trait than there is to have Ava, to love the Rebbeinu Shalom. Ki mimeno nimshach kol avodas Hashem yizbarach v'kol yehidus. All avodas Hashem and all Yadus, all Yiddishkeit, all of our Torah, of our mitzvah, is all drawn after the midah of Ahavas Hashem that a person has. You cannot compare someone who serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu out of love from the one who serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu out of yirah, out of fear. It's a higher level altogether. I do the mitzvahs because I love Hashem, not because I'm afraid of the punishment that He's going to bring me. Ukvar harav Sefer Habris, and there is a work, a Kabbalistic work called the Sefer Habris, which was written in the end of the 1790s by a Kabbalist by the name of Pinchas Horowitz of Vilna. And he brings in that Sefer, Ukvar harav Sefer Habris, Hemik, he already delved deep into this. He explains and expounds in a very detailed and amazing way what real Ava, love of Hashem, and Yirah, and the fear of Hashem is all about. The words of that wise scholar are chen, they find favor. Ashrei Adam Shoiket al Davar, fortunate is the man who is shoiket, who is diligent and studies the words of the Sefer Habris. Now my job, says the Pele Yoetz, is that I am going to come and summarize, so to speak, the Echtev Ktsasa. I'm going to write some of my understandings, my ideas, my insights, la'atzmi, to myself, v'la'anoshim asher kigili, and other people that are similar to me, in this great humility. Remember, this was the man that was called HaKadosh, the Holy One. He was a massive, massive Talmid Chacham and a tzaddik, Yesod Olam, and yet in his humility he says, I'm writing these ideas for myself and other people my age and like me, which I learned from the Sefer Habris. He's not even taking credit himself. He learned it from this Sefer called the Sefer Habris, the Book of the Covenant. Ushar Svarim Asher Eini Liyos Lizikaron Bein Einai, and other works that I have seen that are like a zikaron, they are a sign, a memory between my eyes. Hashem Elokim Ya'azar Li Al Davar Kavod Shemai. May Hashem help me in what I'm trying to accomplish in bringing honor to His name. So with self-effacing humility, the Pele Yoetz begins his Sefer to let you know, these are not my ideas. I didn't come up with this myself. I learned it from other amazing and masterful Sefarim that I learned. And I'm just going to try to summarize, give you a synopsis, insights and ideas and that I myself had and when I was learning them and reading them that I want to share with you and share with myself and other people that are similar to me. Love of Hashem is achas mitarg mitzvahs, is one of the 613 mitzvahs. The mitzvah tidirs, and it is a constant mitzvah as well. Asher b'yana adam l'kaima b'chol eisa b'chol rega. It is a mitzvah that a person has the ability to fulfill all of the time, every moment. Al yidei zechir, just by thinking about it, remembering that I love Hashem. V'hi miskayemis b'machshava v'yiro bilvad. It exists in my machshavas, in my thoughts, and my introspection alone. If a person puts it into their heart that it's fitting to love the Ribbono Shel Olam with an Ahava Azah, with a very strong love, you fulfill a great mitzvah. If you merely think the idea, I have a mitzvah to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu very strong and very deep, you just got a big mitzvah, just for thinking about that. V'hinei elo ha-mitzvah shemiskayomis b'machshava levad, those mitzvahs which a person can fulfill just with their thoughts in their mind, heim nokil l'kaiman, they're very easy to fulfill. Shaharei ha'adam enu yochel amod bilti machshava afilu rega, because as we know, a person cannot stand for even one moment without having some kind of a thought that is running through their mind. And if a person ends up thinking strange and foreign and forbidden thoughts in their head, in a place where he should have been thinking about his love for Hashem, or the fear, the awe that he has of Hashem, or similar good ideas that he could have, and he's thinking negative, that's only because he has a bad heart. He leaves the source of all life, Hashem, to go in and dig broken wells, meaning he leaves the source of life itself for nothingness and transientness. And instead of doing a mitzvah, which he could have got great reward for, the foolish, they just keep going and they get punished. So a person cannot live without thoughts. You see a person sometimes, they have this blank stare. You say, what are you thinking about? And they say, nothing. Says the Pele Yoetz, it's not true. There's no such thing as nothing going on in your mind. Something's always going on in your mind. Either it's going to be filled up with good thoughts of Ahavas Hashem, Yiras Shamayim, my cheshik for mitzvahs and the like, or we're going to be foolish and we'll fill it with Horim Roim, with bad, transient, strange thoughts that a person could have that are possibly some of them asur, prohibited and forbidden to have, and now a person's going to end up taking his thoughts that could be pure and he can lower them down into the mud, Rahman al-Litzlan. Therefore, it is important for a person to be mechazik, the strength of themselves, b'roiv ois, with a lot of strength, and an oomph that he has to put in there, to distance all of the forbidden and wild thoughts from his mind, and the bad thoughts that are there, and he should think pure, holy thoughts. Even when he's moving, going, coming and going, moving around, whatever you're doing, your mind should be absorbed in machshav. It has to be. You're always thinking about something. What are you thinking about? Bills? You're thinking about what's going on in the streets. You're thinking about the vacation you're planning in the summer. You're thinking about what's for lunch in the middle of Shemona Esrei. What are you thinking about? Says the Pele Yoetz, fill your mind with machshavas kedoshos, holy thoughts that will bring you to a very good place. And the moment that you remember that you're thinking something not right, you're thinking these very estranged thoughts in your mind, it should pain you and run away. And you should cling to your kaina, your creator, as much as you possibly can. Therefore, says the Pele Yoetz, our machshavas, our minds, are so much indicative of who we are and what what we're doing and where we're heading in life. And if you could put into your mind, into your thoughts, into the ideas that are swimming around and percolating around in your mind all of the time, thoughts of Ahavas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, loving Hashem with an a strong, deep love, you will be connected to the Ribbono Shel Olam while you're walking down the street, while you're sitting in your car, while you're walking into shul, while you're sitting at your Shabbos table, while you're maybe even in the office, but you're in the office and you're punching the numbers into the computer, or you're making a deal, but you are thinking about loving Hashem. Even there, you're going to be connected to the Ribbono Shel Olam. So welcome aboard to the Hachseik's learning of the Pele Yoetz, and in Yetz Hashem will continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.